Is it better to get anesthesia through the nose? Today we're speaking with Jes Trygved, who's CEO of the Danish research company Cessatech that's on its way to spotlight stock market. Welcome, Jes.
Thank you very much.
What medical field is it that you're active in?
We are first of all focusing on children, and then our first asset is a nasal spray for children within anesthesia.
Why is anesthesia through the nose a good idea?
Well, first of all, we can talk about how well does the drug work, but actually more important is the way we give it to the children. And it's much more easy to give anesthesia for these painful procedures, and that could be accidents or emergency cases in the hospitals, post-surgery procedures. It's a lot easier to give it through the nose than having to go through the veins with an access, what we call IV access. So administration is very important when we talk children.
Okay, and your lead asset is made up of two substances, and you have signed a royalty agreement with Rigshospitalet. Can you tell us the background there?
Yeah, well, the project started several years ago, back in 2013. Bettina is one of the founders of the company, and she did a PhD. So we have a lot of heritage from Rigshospitalet. And when we took the project out of Rigshospitalet, we formed a company, obviously. But we have also made an agreement with Rigshospitalet that, of course, as with any inventions, the founders and the people behind will get a royalty from that. So we have a very good collaboration with Rigshospitalet. They are very keen on getting their innovations to the market, so that's super good.
Which markets are you going to focus on geographically?
Well, the first years we are going to focus on developing the product to the requirements of the European agency, the European Medicine Agency, who's going to give us the regulatory approval. So first step is to submit and get ready, and then because it's EMEA, then our next, it's a natural focus to focus on Europe, and then maybe later on we will also focus on the US.
Okay. So, as you said, you plan to reach the market 2024. How does your financing plan look until then?
Well, with the IPO, we are starting now, which is split up in two. So there's the first period, which is taking place now, and then there's the warrant next year. That will take us to the submission of the EMA, which is basically the regulatory steps that we will initiate at that point. Of course, we don't have financing enough to do the commercial and rolling out and launching it in countries. And that could be us, but it's more likely that it will be a partner that will do that.
You aim for a market share of 30 to 40% after 6 to 8 years. How do you think the competitors will try to tackle your offer?
Well, today, unfortunately, there's not so much competition. Some of the products that is used are very old. There's not been a lot of innovation in this field, and actually even some will say our market share expectations, and that may not be us, but our partner at the end, are quite high. Some will say they're quite low because there's no use there. And some will argue, well, if there's no competition, it's very easy to get a high market share. Others will argue it's actually very difficult because you have to tell the whole story. I think we have seen from the use at Rigshospitalet and also in Sweden at Karolinska, there's a great unmet need, and we have seen that from all the experts we have spoken to. So it's always difficult to say whether one number is correct or wrong. But I think all the people we have spoken to say there's a great need for solutions to children.
You also have two other follow-up concepts for children. Can you tell me about those?
Yeah, very important to highlight that the IPO here is about the nasal spray for anesthesia, and next comes two other pipeline projects, which is not really ready for funding yet, and it will be the focus in the coming years, and we will see how we will get the funding there and whether we will pursue it. It's important, I think, when we focus on children that we have more than one asset. We have a lot of ideas within the team, and the first two we are focusing on is one of them is MRI scannings for children, And here they need some sort of sedative effect, because it's very difficult for children to lie down for a very long period, maybe 1 hour, and they have to be completely still. So it's also a nasal spray, but it's of course a different active ingredient.
How has Cessatech been affected by the pandemic?
We are still a very new company. We basically started when the pandemic, at least the company was formed early this year. We have been doing a lot of work many years before, but so that makes planning a little easier. We are kind of used to this now, and will there be any delays? I hope not, but we never know how the things will evolve as they are now, hopefully for the better, but I guess that's the big question for everybody. So far it has not had have a big impact. I think most people agree that if you're doing an investment, healthcare seems to be very relevant, where traveling maybe at the moment is not the best place to put your money.
Okay. There are many upcoming objectives on your path to 2024. How big are the risks for delay, would you say?
I've been in this industry for 20 years, and it's very rare that you do a plan that gets you all your milestones exactly on the same date. I'm sure there will be surprises, but I'm also sure there will be things that will be done faster. Of course, we have a little bit slack there. So it's too early to say where we will see upsides, where we will see downsides. But I'm quite confident that we will catch up if there will be delays, and maybe we can speed up other areas. It's a plan, and that's very important. There will be surprises, but hopefully also positive surprises.
Okay. What is the biggest challenge, would you say, for Cessatech? Is it regulatory clearance, or is it reaching out to the market?
Well, our first step is to get the regulatory approval. I think we have a very clear path. We have a pediatric investigation plan, which is approved by EMA. That means that the studies that we have to do have been agreed. There are clear synopsises. We are in the process of writing the protocols. So that is fairly easy. Having said that, there's nothing that's easy in the pharmaceutical industry or in the research industry. And I think there will be challenges all along the way, both regulatory, but also in the launch. But everything is relative, and you have to compare it to what you have done before. And I think the team has had that experience before. We know there will be challenges, and we know that we have to find solutions. So I cannot say where it will be now. That's probably too early. But I can say that we are a team that have worked with this before, and we're used to finding solutions one way or the other. Of course, within the limits of what is allowed, and in this very regulated world that we are in.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Jes, for being with us, and good luck.
Thank you. Thanks for taking the time.